So colonialism is one piece of the picture. Our history, where we've been, what we've done, and what has been done to us in varying degrees. But I think where we are now, our more recent history, is also well worth looking at to kind of get an understanding. Not just who we were as a country, but who we are as a country. And yeah, I'm getting Ben's going political. This is stuff I tend to keep out of YouTube content because it feels like a Pandora's box. Like once you start talking about it, you never get to stop talking about it. I would propose that for understanding contemporary race relations in American culture, we would do well to bear 3 articles in mind. First, that our mainstream political culture is nationalist, and enough so that it's noteworthy. Second, our history, both distant and recent, of being an apartheid state. And third, our history of consistently being a wartime state. I'm going to break these down in turn, and I'm going to do so in separate videos, but here's the general overview. Our nationalist culture impedes our ability to assess and evaluate how we're doing as a people, as a culture. It impedes both our ability to assess how we are treating persons that are not ourselves, how our society in general is treating persons not ourselves, but it also impedes our ability to assess how we personally are doing. It makes it very, very difficult for us to take a realistic inventory of our rights, privileges, comforts, and the injustices that we tolerate. Second, apartheid. This is an issue that is so euphemized in our culture, in our language, that we rarely refer to it with that word. You know, we typically call it Jim Crow, but it's apartheid. And thanks to recent efforts in Arizona, in Florida, in Alabama, we can't even say that we were an apartheid state past tense. We are. And the machinery of previous apartheid initiatives was not so distantly dismantled, or so radically dismantled, that we can say that we ever got out of that shadow before we started building new mechanisms of apartheid. Third, a wartime state. We make certain allowances for setting aside social priorities. Domestic policy tends to be downplayed as a priority during war. Sacrifice, everyone pulling together, and we'll win this war. Everyone do their part. America has been in a state of war And here I don't mean formal declaration of war, because we're very, very good at making war without declaring it, but a state of significant deployment of military forces with the expectation of utilization of lethal force. We have been in that state for most of our history as a country. And by most of our history, I mean it is difficult to find a span of 3 years in American history, since the Declaration of Independence, when we were not engaged in a significant deployment of military personnel with the expectation and intent to utilize lethal force. I mean, we are always at war. Have always been at war, and I think that has deeply scarred our national character. At the very least, it has defined aspects of who we are as a country that I think are worth exploring, worth discussing. Now, this is, while I'm still in preamble mode, before I get into any detail on these, a lot of people's gut response to this is going to be, Ben hates America, or what have you. Which, incidentally, I would point to as symptomatic of one of the problems of nationalism in our dialogue. But I don't. I have spent at least 2 weeks in every major city in the U.S. I have seen all of the continental 48 states, and I love it. This is a breathtakingly beautiful country, and with a beautiful, noble people who, in many ways, deserve better than they've got. And I believe passionately that the engine of progress requires criticism, requires evaluation. I personally feel that identifying faults or problems or illnesses in our national character that I feel can be remedied, can be treated, is an act of patriotism. I honestly, I love this country, and it breaks my heart. I love this country, and it breaks my heart. So, I'll be getting to those 3 points in individual videos.